like, and just because I've been, you know, brought up this way, is it actually what I truly feel like is right for me?
Maybe it does taste fake because it is fake.
It was like we're having some weird space food.
With beauty products, vegan and tested on animals are different things.
When you realise that you don't actually have to eat meat, then like, of course I wouldn't want to hurt animals.
Yeah,
Like,
there's an interesting differentiation between what people in the UK classify as vegan and the US.
Grow your own plants.
We grow our own greens, yeah.
it's cheaper than meat.
Yeah.
It's not like meat
Yeah.
is cheap. Meat is very expensive.
If one of your kids wanted to become non-vegans, would you allow it and support it? There were like some changes coming in.
But then something like really dramatic happened.
Hey guys, we recently celebrated 13 years of being vegan. Like, we've been talking about this, and we're like, when we first went vegan, if we'd have seen people online which said 13 years, we're like, what the heck?
Like, how is that even possible?
Yeah, how, what, why? So, we asked you to ask us any questions that you wanted to across our socials, and today we're going to be answering them. So question 1 is, yay, I love you so much, Family Fizz. You seem so nice. I am also vegan. Okay, cool.
Aww.
My question is, why did you become vegan? Please answer. Love you so much.
Oh, I love you.
So this is a bit of a long answer. Obviously, it doesn't apply to the youngest ones. Do you want to start, Georgie? Because basically when you were pregnant with Sienna.
Yeah, it all started when I was pregnant with Sienna, and
This
during
is
my
Sienna, by the way, the
pregnancy,
13-year-old.
I started to get put off eating like meat and things like that, so I started to experiment with non-meat dishes like a lentil lasagna and things like that. I started trying to make those dishes, and I say trying, but there was some resistance from you, Darren.
Hello there.
He was very pro-meat, like I need to eat meat for protein and to make my muscles grow big. Like you had this idea in your head that you'd be lacking something majorly if you didn't eat meat.
Absolutely.
Like you
or
were,
not
you
even
were,
just meat. It was just like
vegetarian, weren't you?
animal products in general. Yeah, I'd even like debated with vegetarians in the past, just like it's not how we're naturally designed to live. Doesn't make sense. So obviously I was respecting what Georgie was saying because she was pregnant and getting these feelings, and so I'm not going to tell her to go against her natural feelings. So she's like, you know, not eggs, can we have free range eggs instead of the standard eggs? And then like, actually I don't want this cow's milk, etc. And there were like some changes coming in, but especially the switching the meat one for lentils, I was just like,
you were like, what are you eating? But at
how
the
is this
same
gonna
time,
work?
Fizz Fam, I didn't really know anything about being a vegetarian or vegan that much. I was just like only then just learning about it, so it was a very new concept to me. And but then something like really dramatic happened. Yeah.
So obviously during the whole of Sienna's pregnancy inside mum, we'd been having a few vegetarian options. Georgie had been trying to slip more and more in there. But then after Sienna was born, it was like 2-3 months. She was born in September, and it was in the January of the next year. I watched a documentary called Earthlings, which I felt like I had to watch for myself just to learn what really goes on with like the way meat is produced, etc. And long story short, basically I watched that on my own, interestingly enough. It was while Sienna was really little, and like you go and, you know, they sleep all the time.
I went on a course.
You went on a course.
Yeah.
Sienna's basically napping in the other room, and I watched it on my own and then just absolutely cried my eyes out watching it. It was really, really traumatic and horrible, and the images are basically still there. So I wouldn't recommend anybody watch it unless you are like a really ardent meat eater, and if you're open-minded enough to want to know the other side of the equation, then I watched it. And then basically Georgie came home, and then I was like, so you know the vegetarian stuff, well I'm kind of up for going even further than that, and you know, not having any animal products whatsoever.
And then I was like quite receptive to it. I was excited because I think deep down, like I'd had seeds planted when I was in high school. One of my RE teacher, she was a vegetarian, and she's very like pro animal rights. So she taught me a lot about like how chickens are treated and things like that. So I think I'd had those seeds planted in me. So I was like, I wanted to make that change with you. Like we were both like, let's do this, but we didn't really have any idea of how to be vegan or like what it was. Or
we'll discuss this about had we ever met someone who was a vegan before this, and I'm pretty sure I never had, only vegetarian, and I don't think you ever had either.
No.
So then obviously we began researching because we're like, okay, we've got 2 children, and we've got to figure out how to make it as healthy as possible. So Mia, you were 6 at the time, weren't you?
7.
I
I was
Yeah.
7, yeah.
Can you?
I thought the reason why we turned vegan is to be healthy.
No, it was because I didn't want to hurt. Well, it was
Yeah.
a bit of both. Mum felt like she was rejecting animal products
Yeah.
because they made her feel gross while she was pregnant. But then we found out just how unkind it is and
Yeah.
how you don't have to eat animal products.
Well, I think that
you can eat plants
yeah.
instead.
I think the unkind element also made me feel gross as well.
Yeah,
Like all
yeah.
of it was like gross to me.
Yeah.
Like so.
So can you remember any of it, Mia?
Yeah, I remember you guys telling me about it, and then like I feel like as a child, it's kind of always like your natural instinct to, you know, you're so innocent, especially at that age. You just want to be nice to everything. The idea of like you kind of just accept that it's normal to eat a certain way, and then you guys like sort of told me about it, and I was like, well, yeah, obviously that makes so much sense. Like you just accept it, but like when you realize that you don't actually have to eat meat, then like of course I wouldn't want to hurt animals.
Yeah.
Like that's not. If it's not necessary, then why do it?
And I think it was important to me as well when we first went vegan that we did loads of research, and I immediately started researching things like how to make vegan cakes and all things like
Yeah.
that. So there was never any lack for us. And this was
Yeah.
like 13 years ago when there wasn't that many like substitutes in the shops like now. So like I immediately started like I know that your treat that you liked as a kid was those white chocolate milk buttons.
Yeah.
And I immediately went and found some that like Tesco's had them, Sainsbury's.
Yeah.
So I made sure as well that there was no lack with you.
Yeah, I felt like you guys explained it to me like you can still eat all of the same things but just a vegan version and still be healthy. So like of course to a kid it's just like, well, yeah, of course, like why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So following on from that, what's the difference, this is our second question, what's the difference between being vegan and being a vegetarian?
Ooh, this is a good question. I feel like there's a lot of like different like opinions on like people have different interpretations because it's kind of just like the label that you decide to give yourself. I mean, there's so many terms out there like plant-based, pescatarian and that, but I feel like usually what it means, vegetarian is you don't eat any meat, but you still might have other products which come from animals, but you don't eat like
meat
the
or fish.
actual
No meat or fish,
animal. Yeah, you don't eat the actual animal.
The flesh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas a vegan is someone that doesn't eat any products from an animal. Or also you don't want to use products that are from an animal, you know, like makeup products that have been tested on animals or got, you know, animal ingredients in them and many other things. But like there's many ways that you could take it like as far as you want. But basically being a vegan just means that you try your best.
So being a vegan, animal products is eggs, milk, meat, fish,
Honey.
Yeah.
leather, insects, wool,
Yeah.
silk, and many more. Like there's
Eggs.
anything that comes from animals and living creatures.
Which when you
essentially.
first find out about it sounds insanely complicated.
Yeah.
So
And
rather than
yeah.
being overwhelmed, it's just like, just take one step
But
at a
trust
time.
me,
Yeah.
there is more things which are vegan than there are that isn't vegan.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Once you start looking for it, then you start noticing.
like think
more.
about how many varieties of fruits and vegetables there are out there compared to how many types of meat there is.
Yeah.
Like there
Yeah.
is a lot,
Yeah.
but like it is more simple than you think.
Fine, you can actually
But with
have
any
a
new
top
thing
one.
that you're learning, sometimes you just have to give yourself a little bit of time, and once you
Would
figure
you
it
like a
out, it'll
big
become
one?
second nature.
Next question. Do your kids like being vegan? By the way, love you guys.
Ah, love you
Thanks,
too.
Olivia.
Of course. I like being vegan.
Yeah, what do you like about it?
That you're not hurting animals and the animals won't cry.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the sort of thing that Sienna used to say at your type of age as well. Because that's the thing, I think it does, like what Mia was saying earlier, it does come naturally to you to not want to hurt things. You know,
Yeah,
like if
every
you
person
put a
feels
rabbit
that
in
way.
front of a child, they don't want to like club it to death and skin it and eat it. They want to just stroke
Play,
it. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, it comes naturally and it's just about following on from those natural inclinations. Whereas I think it's more like a learned experience to teach ourselves, no,
To
we
accept it.
we have to have meat for our survival, so that, yeah, it's not the nicest thing, but you know, it's part of the food chain, etc. And I guess we just had to do a lot of relearning of like, oh, actually, you can just eat plants and then be really healthy and not need to do that.
I mean, there's so many like cultural norms. In different cultures, they accept eating certain types of meat, but then in other cultures, they wouldn't accept that, and like vice versa.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just like a cultural norm that you eat meat or you eat this certain way. So it's kind of just like relearning that, hang on a second, just because I've been, you know, brought up this way, is it actually what I truly feel like is right for me?
And how do you feel
It's
about
a bit like when
Sienna?
people are brought up in religions as well, and they
Yeah.
might question it afterwards if they're open-minded
And
enough.
Sienna, because
Yeah.
you've been vegan since you were born. So like what is, because Sienna, compared to Mia, hasn't always been vegan her life, but Sienna has.
And obviously Georgie and
Yeah.
I always haven't
So,
either.
yeah.
Can I
and
tell you something?
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't really like known anything else, obviously, because I can't remember when I was like 1 month old. And I feel like I do remember kind of a little bit of when I was like 5 or something, and I remember it was definitely a lot harder than it is nowadays. I still really wanted to be when I was 5. Like, as Dad said, like I used to always think like, why do you want to hurt the animals? Like, I was really passionate about animals. I really love animals. You'd have to like read all the back of labels and really make sure that something's vegan, because like nowadays we're actually really lucky, because like if something's vegan, most of the time it'll have like a vegan label on it.
Yeah.
It's very
whereas-
obvious now.
It's changed
Yeah.
a lot over
Whereas
the last
like,
so many
decade.
vegan
years ago, we would have to like really make sure like
really hunt for it.
Yeah, we would really have to hunt for it. Whereas like now it's so easy. So I feel like being vegan has definitely become a lot easier, but I've always loved it.
Next question. Was it easy on your taste buds to convert? For me,
I feel like we always
Not so
said
much,
this.
no.
I feel like when we switched from cow's milk to soy milk, it did taste different and it tasted planty.
it tasted really weird.
Yeah.
Tasted really weird. I personally thought like this is because it taken me a while to be accepting these other foods, what Georgie was trying to get me to have. It was like we were having some weird space food. I felt like, you know, what NASA gets sent up, or you know, like army rations packs, where it's like that dried stuff that they rehydrate and that type of thing. Like it felt like we were doing that, but a lot of it was in my head, and then it took a while and then over time I then actually completely reversed, and I was like, wow, that carton it came out of a cow's udders, like for cow's milk.
Yeah.
I'm like, that was for a baby cow. It's really gross. It like fattens up a cow and makes them massive really quickly, and you know, they've got to have multiple stomachs to be able to digest it and stuff. And now I'm like, this one is just a soya bean. Like, it's way
But if you
nicer.
actually think about it, some of the foods that we did eat back then were space foods. So like, if you're going to immediately go from eating like a natural product such as an egg and some milk from a cow, and then you're eating like really artificial fake foods, like maybe it does taste fake because it is fake. If you're switching to like whole foods and natural foods, then I don't think it did taste weird, but it was the packaged food that tasted...
The ultra-processed
It was
things.
the ultra-processed foods that did taste weird. So
Yeah.
But I think it's also to do with the timing of when we went vegan. Like products nowadays is completely different, and like recipes and just like knowledge on how to eat vegan it's completely different.
like
and
the
you
quality
can
of
definitely
things have changed.
eat very delicious food to the point that like someone who's not vegan can eat it for the first time and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like maybe back then people didn't really know.
But one thing
How
to
to
point
make
out
it.
as well is
Yeah.
that cow's milk and like animal products are very, very rich tasting. And vegan food, like plant-based whole foods, is very natural and clean tasting. So
Yeah.
your taste buds might have to adapt to a less like fatty and oily and like super rich taste. So for instance, it's the opposite has now happened to us. If I accidentally get given cow's milk, it literally tastes so strong and foul in my mouth that it makes
And
me
like
feel
moldy.
sick.
It
It tastes
smells-
too strong.
It smells
Yeah.
like gone
I don't
off
like
all the
it.
time, doesn't it?
But some organic soya beans mixed with some spring water and turned into soya milk is very clean and like fresher on my taste buds. But yes, I think when you first transition from these very rich foods to maybe more simpler, cleaner foods, then I think you might notice a difference, but you will get used to that. But if you find packaged foods taste weird and gross, maybe just lean into that and don't have the weird
What's that, Carla?
packaged foods.
One time when me and Cole went to this little place, we got a milkshake, and then Mum kept on saying, we tried, it was both of us. I tried some and it tasted like cow's milk. Mum and Dad said, no, it's not, and they couldn't taste anything. But then Mum kept on saying, no, they're allergic to cow's milk, and they kept on saying, it has none in. But then Dad said it was probably just the leftovers in it, and I could really tell it was cow's milk, and it tasted like
they've
that
never
moldy.
had cow's milk. but just where they'd use the same milk frothing machine.
Yeah.
So there's obviously, because they were insistent, they're like, no, it's oat milk, it's 100% oat milk, don't worry, we didn't get your order wrong. But yeah, it was obviously just what's left over, and their taste buds can even detect what was left in that frothing machine. One thing is about the switch as well, is that animal products are like acid forming in the body, they're acidic, whereas plant products are alkaline, largely alkaline. So even in terms of like, when you have cow's milk, you get phlegm in your throat, and like you have to keep clearing your throat, but that doesn't happen with the plant alternative, so it's another little benefit.
I've got something interesting to say. Do you think it would be easier to switch from being non-vegan, like how it felt from switching to being non-vegan to vegan, or now to switch from being to vegan to non-vegan? I personally think it'd be harder to go from vegan for 13 years to then going to non-vegan again, even though you'd be non-vegan for longer.
If you think about it, like someone who's non-vegan still eat loads of plants. Like if you don't eat plants, you're not healthy. Like you have to eat plants whether you're vegan or not. So it's just eating more of the plants.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, I don't really think it's going to be like a massive,
Next question. Have you noticed any significant health changes since becoming vegan?
Well, amazing endurance and fitness.
Just huge health improvements.
Clear head, more energy. I feel lighter, energetically and spiritually. It's a very hard thing to explain, but there's a reason why a lot of these people who, like in certain cultures and religions, they have people that are trying to reach enlightenment or get work their way up to what do you call it, down, like spiritual, enlightenment,
like nirvana.
They cut out things like meat and all of these animal products because it does like energetically, vibrationally hold you down. I think most, even like Judaism and even Islam, there's certain sectors where it's I got this book about vegetarianism, and it was saying about how they say that to get closer to God you need to like shed the vices or the addictions for eating meat. It's very interesting. Apparently even Jesus was a vegetarian, which is very interesting, some of his disciples. But even if you don't believe in all of that, I feel like it just makes you feel like just cleaner and purer. I really like that. And
anytime we've been and had to do anything which involves our blood, like we've been for ozone therapy, or if we've been for a blood test, etc., every single time the people doing it are just like, wow, your blood is just so vibrant and light and clear. So you can even see like in that level what it's done. But in terms of like our physical performance and things, straight after going vegan, Georgie and I both started running. We became top 1% marathon runners within only like a year and a half of starting from really unhealthy to just going for it, because we were just going with the feelings that we were getting. But then as time went on, so in terms of the significant health changes, when we initially went vegan, we were primarily eating all natural products, but then as more and more of these unnatural products started coming out, so like the ultra processed vegan alternatives to things like the fake meats and the fake cheeses, etc., the more we incorporated them into what we were eating, then we stopped to have that feeling of like, wow, I just feel so good, on top of the world. Like it was dulling it a little bit. And so then over time we actually started noticing, okay, just because something says vegan on the packet, it doesn't mean it's good for you. It's the stuff which is made by nature which is good for you, not the ultra processed packaged rubbish.
Because you can get somebody who's the meat eater, but if they're eating all fresh organic vegetables and all that with their meals with some meat, as opposed to someone who is vegan but they're just eating donuts, clearly
like just chips and Coke,
which
are both vegan. Like you can literally eat deep fried chips and Coke.
Quite clearly the person eating meat and vegetables is probably going to be healthier.
I actually talked about this in our book, Growing Glow.
But I think that some of the longest living populations in the world, they actually predominantly eat a plant-based diet, or almost a
predominantly
plant-based diet.
or exclusively plant-based.
There's a really good documentary called Game Changers, and that really focuses on sports and athletes who are like in peak performance and they're doing very, very well in their sports, and they're all vegan. And
in terms of your recovery, your proneness to injuries. Because your body is a more alkaline state, so it means you are performing much better.
I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I'm more doing this to give some good credit to eating a plant-based vegan diet. But I've even got a sub 3 hour marathon, and I entered the championships in the London Marathon, where I got to run with the very best runner, and including Paula Radcliffe. I started on the start line with her. And then I've even won some bodybuilding bikini competitions as well, where that's not just about endurance, but that's obviously about building muscle and being very lean. Yeah. And loads of other like crazy fitness competitions and things like that. And Mia, I've got some good achievements.
Yeah,
right
I've
now.
done some races. I did a Tough Mudder. But I think for me, obviously, when we turned vegan, I was 7 years old. I kind of just felt like a kid, you know what I mean? But I feel great. Like, I couldn't imagine not being vegan.
No, but I mean, but if you think about when you first go vegan, some people say, well, you're going to feel good, you've made changes to your diet, switch to something healthy. But 13 years later, we're still making improvements in our fitness. Like Mia right now, she's been vegan most of her life. Yeah. And she's now able to do like muscles up, like you're working to, like you're mashing a muscle up.
Yeah.
So
I'm 41. I'm the fittest I've ever been. I'm fitter than I was at 20. So
sorry for sounding like trying to be egotistical.
No, but it's just telling it how it is. Like you want to know how it's going to make you feel, and that is telling it how it is. When you eat natural foods the way nature made them, it makes you feel amazing.
Yeah, I think the main thing is like the more vegetables you eat, the better. Yeah. The more pure, whole foods.
But one thing which is very important is mindset. Now people always forget this. If you're going to go into eating a new diet and you really believe it and you feel very optimistic about it, it's more likely to go well. If you go into something thinking, hang on, there's loads of lack here and this, like you're not filling your mind with good thoughts about it, it's quite likely to not work out because your thoughts,
you're not going to feel good.
Your thoughts really play a huge impact on like your health. And if you're constantly thinking or saying to yourself, this isn't good for me, this isn't good for me, then
it's not good for you.
So that's another thing to remember as well. So it's good to read and research loads of books, fill yourself up with loads of positive things, documentaries that are supporting your goal, and it will really help.
Go on, Karma.
I've done 2 races in my whole life.
Yeah.
One at our old school and one with Jojo.
Yeah.
You guys have also got you've won gymnastic competitions.
Yeah.
And you've got medals from your gymnastics, haven't you, girls? The whole family's sporty.
Next question. Do you ever get concerned that vegan meat substitutes are unnatural?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we were just talking about that. I definitely think, a lot of them, which are like super processed, are not the best for your body, especially if you're eating them all the time, like as if they're like your main food source. I don't think that's the ideal for your body. If you look at the
ingredients of them, they contain loads of seed oils and chemicals and gluten and things like that, which can cause inflammation in your body, whereas a natural whole foods plant-based diet is very
anti-inflammatory.
Very anti-inflammatory. So instead of eating we have tried fake meat, and there was a period
extensively. We've had it a lot, but years ago.
It was more out of kind of a bit of like disrespect for our bodies. Like we liked the taste of it, but we kind of knew it wasn't that good, and afterwards we feel quite bloated and actually low energy. But so instead of eating fake meats, there's so many like healthy things that you can have: tofu, tempeh, beans. There's literally loads of beans, like chickpeas and lentils. Also mushrooms are very good, and then lots of other things. Like most foods contain different proteins and amino acids in them as well, but if you want that really meatiness, I think we really like beans and
tempeh. We have a lot of tempeh.
Tempeh,
It's actually funny that you say like we like them, because I feel like I kind of maybe like the taste, but I've kind of always been a little bit like put off of like those kind of ones where they're like really fake and like the texture is like really meaty, and like I don't know, they just kind of, I've always felt like they're a bit weird, like they're kind of like space food, or like I don't know, it's kind of feels like you're not actually eating actual food.
Oh, you definitely notice that feeling of like, because when you get satisfied from something that you've eaten, or even what you've drunk as well, it's when you've actually given your body what it needed. So that's why you can end up like overeating when you eat rubbish foods, because you're not getting that satisfaction that your body's
trying to get the nutrients.
Your body's still calling out like it needs something.
Because it needs the nutrients.
Exactly.
We did. I used to have this belief though that if you transition to a vegan diet, switch the meats for the fake meats. But now I kind of feel differently about it. I just think like, why are you going to go through something? Like, why delay feeling good? Like, just go straight to eating.
Well, also be kind to everything. Like, if you are deciding to stop eating meat because you realise like actually a cow doesn't have to die for me to have a meal or whatever it is, then also be kind to yourself. Give yourself the things what are good. So be kind to all animals, including humans, including yourself as a human.
But there are some really amazing places that we eat out now where it doesn't just focus on fake meat. Like there's this place in Tenerife where we go and they make these amazing beetroot burgers. They're really, really delicious.
Yeah.
And like you can make some really good food. It's all about the spices and the textures that you use. And it's actually a lot easier than preparing meat, vegan food. But you just have to have a good spice selection in your cupboard and just make sure that there's texture in food. I think texture, like on your tongue, it can really enhance the eating experience. But check out our daily snacks.
And also, you can't even grow meat in your garden because it's an animal. Because we've got loads of vegetables up there growing, but you can't deal with cows and stuff.
Yeah. We can go and snap a little bit of lettuce off every day, can't we? And oregano.
Just shove it in our mouth.
Yeah. So in terms of do we get concerned that vegan meat substitutes are unnatural? Yes, we think they're really unnatural and not good for you. But if people want to use them as some sort of a stepping stone, that's a personal choice. Yeah. But in hindsight, we probably now, with what we know and understand now, we would have chosen to not ever have those fake foods. Next question. Can vegans get sufficient protein? By the way, love you guys so much.
Okay, there's one thing I have to say. Beans good for your heart. The more you eat, the more you know
get
what
protein.
comes next.
Beans good for your heart.
The more muscles you get.
Yeah. Well, no, but seriously though, beans are the main way that vegans get protein. And also tempeh and tofu, which are still technically beans because they're just like adaptations of beans, I guess.
Yeah. Comes from soybeans.
Yeah.
But also, like, once you break what protein is down, it's a collection of amino acids, and all the plant foods contain amino acids. There used to be a concern about complete proteins, which is like all 9 essential amino acids being in sufficient levels in that one food, but that has largely been disproven nowadays, and it's actually said that you get all of the 9 aminos in the plant foods regardless.
To get enough protein.
Yeah.
Basically, if you're under eating or
if you're eating enough calories and varied, then you're good. You don't have to stress over it in any way.
I think nowadays people don't really struggle with getting enough protein. I don't think that's really an issue. In fact, people probably have too much protein. There are some studies out there that show people who have a high protein diet, they tend to have they don't live as long.
Absolutely.
I don't know if I
IGF-1, which is mainly in meat, and that is associated with increased mortality, reduced longevity. But the way that plant proteins are managed by the body is a bit different to the way meat, like aminos are managed anyway. So it's you can't really overeat plant proteins, but you can overeat animal proteins in terms of if you're trying to live a long and healthy life.
I think make sure every meal you have some protein source with it. So for instance, with my breakfast, I have a Greek soya yogurt, or you can put silken tofu blended up into a smoothie, and then for lunch, you could have like scrambled tofu on some nice organic rice sourdough, and then for dinner, make sure you have beans. And then if you're like an athlete and you're doing a lot of training, you can get some amazing organic protein powders.
Yeah, I always take them with me to gymnastics.
Yeah, which that is just the same as meat eaters or omnivores who are into fitness might choose to have a protein powder as well. So it's just the same difference.
And also, we're not concerned as a family about having organic, non-GMO soybean products. The reason for that is from a lot of from other cultures where they consume a lot of soya, like in Japan, the women don't have menopausal symptoms, and I think it's actually a myth that consuming too much soya is bad for your hormones, especially as males. I think people get confused with the GMO fake soy that they actually feed animals, which people actually eat. When you get meat and dairy, some people get really scared to have soya products because as a male, because they think it's going to womanize them. Is that the right term? Feminize them. So, but actually, when they're consuming animal products such as milk, they're drinking the hormones of a pregnant cow, which is just full of these
Well, also beer.
Beer.
Man boobs are associated with beer, I think.
So I think
Not
sometimes
soya beans.
there's a lot of myths out there.
You
And
probably have to eat a lot of soya beans.
Yeah.
And I actually personally feel like organic, pure soybeans, like we have a lot of our products that are soy, they're actually grown in the EU, and it's just like having other beans. We don't have any concerns with that as a family, do we?
Also, tempeh has a lot of protein in.
It does.
Yeah,
Well done.
That's right.
Yeah.
What are your views on non-vegans? Darren and Georgie, hang on, this is 2 questions.
Yeah, so.
Right, okay, first part of the question then. What are your views on non-vegans?
You're a human.
Yeah, so it's your choice.
I mean, it's up to you. Everyone has their own decisions. It's
But
just like,
I was a non-vegan for 26 years. Was I 26?
Yeah.
How old was I when we...
27 maybe?
27.
Yeah.
28.
Yeah.
Must have been 28.
I mean, most of our family are non-vegans.
yeah.
Me
Yeah.
and Cole have been vegan for our whole life.
yeah.
I know, that's amazing.
I mean, if you're saying it like, do we have any judgment for non-vegans? Not really, no. In fact, this is a really weird thing, but I actually sometimes feel more irritated by other vegans because sometimes like online there's like a myth as well that vegans are angry, and I actually feel quite upset about that myth.
I
Like,
think
I don't resonate with being an angry vegan and judgmental. I think you should show love to everybody.
But it's depending on what stage of like, if you've just freshly watched a really horrific documentary and it's fresh in your mind,
you're gonna feel
like
very-
you're really going to be talking about it a lot. But obviously over time, you know, you just become more balanced, don't you, as a human?
Yeah.
So
But I mean, there's more going on in our lives where we can have connections with people. We don't just have to like people, be friends with people vegan. There's loads of other qualities and traits in humans that like we're drawn to. And I think being vegan is about being kind to yourself, animals, and also other human beings, and having empathy.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, if you've made the choice to go vegan, if you want to be kind to animals, then like you're obviously a kind person. You're not gonna want to be like unkind to other humans because they haven't made the same choice. Like, just be kind to everyone.
Cole's been vegan for 4 years and I've been vegan for 6 years.
Yeah.
Right, the second half of the question was, Darren and Georgie, if one of your kids wanted to become non-vegans, would you allow it and support it? I mean, realistically, everybody in their house eats what their parents make for them, don't they?
Yeah.
I don't feel like you get to just say to your...
No.
Well, number one, like, we're all a really open and honest family and we speak candidly about everything. I don't really feel like we have, like, things where we're, like, having different lives away from each other in terms of, like, I think we like, share everything about
I
what's
don't
going
think it
on.
would ever happen, but if it did, I would talk to you and I'd want to know why you feel this way. And to be honest, like, I feel like in like kind of traditional families, like, you kind of follow the rules of the parents' house, don't you? Follow the house rules. Like, if you wanted to start smoking, I wouldn't allow you to do it in the house. It'd be when you move out, then you can choose to do it. I think we'd probably be like that. We'd be like, well, if that's what you want to do, fine. But in our house, you stick to our rules.
But that's the thing, like, the children being vegan is not like a rule. It's not like as if they're like, oh, those pesky rules, you know, I wish I could just have a chicken in my bedroom and, like, you know, take its eggs every day or something.
It would be cute, but not to take its eggs.
Like,
I'd love a chicken.
like, so it's not like as if it's a rule. So if one of your kids wanted to become non-vegans, would you allow it? Like, they would come and talk to us and explain things, and then we would have a discussion.
It's just a tricky one because it would have to be something so extreme for them to say that. Like, I can't imagine it ever happening, and then I guess we'd deal with it in the moment. But if it was something like, I just don't want to be it anymore, I just want to eat McDonald's, I'd be like, well, no.
But that's
You wouldn't
never
want me
going.
eating McDonald's or vegan or not.
We're like hypothesizing these things which are just a million miles away from our reality. Whereas I think maybe a family which isn't as close knit and they don't spend much time together because the child is like, you know, they go on the school bus and they're like basically away from the house for 12 hours a day, and the dad gets home from work at 10 p.m. and they don't see each other very often. I think families like that are more inclined to go on different paths. But because we're all like really connected, I don't think we're so inclined to go on different paths. When they grow up and like move out and stuff like that, then I guess there's more potential for that. But then it wouldn't be like, you know, would you allow it? Like, they do what they want when they're an adult and moved out, obviously.
People have asked me that before, like, oh, are you allowed to like eat meat, like, or, you know, cheese or whatever, if you wanted to? And I'm like, well, Like kind of, but like I wouldn't want to anyway. It's kind of like my choice as well. Like I don't personally want to, but then obviously my parents
it's not
don't want to either. Like
enforce.
we all don't want to.
Yeah, it depends what like the questioner's perception of things is. A bit like what Georgie said about mindset earlier, in terms of like, are you viewing something from a positive or a negative? If you view that you're going to start eating vegan foods from a negative, then you would view it as like, oh, there's a rule being enforced and stuff. But when you view it from a positive, which it is a massive positive, then you don't see things that way. You see it as like a blessing and a benefit.
I think all the kids are really proud that we're vegan. Like I get this vibe from us that they're really happy about it, and we're like, wow, we get to be vegan. I guess it's a bit like if the whole family has a certain religion, like you feel proud of it and you want that. Like it's not a rule; it's a way of being, a way of living, and we're really happy about it. And I think it would be very sad and a very sad moment if one of the kids didn't want to be. I don't think we'd be angry. I don't think it would ever happen. But it would be very, very rare and sad.
Kind of like if you have a family ethos or like a mission statement that you're all aligned with, that type of thing. So we're one of those types of families, basically. Do you guys ever miss being a non-vegan? Have any of you secretly snuck something not vegan and never told anyone?
It's quite a good question.
Definitely not snuck anything.
Like you just hear like crinkling wrappers or something.
I mean, sometimes I haven't done this recently, but sometimes I would sneak things in, but it would be vegan things. But yeah, I guess in the past, when there was more like limited things, I would like I don't know, for example, if you go into Starbucks and you see all those cakes, I'd be like, oh, it'd be so good if they're vegan. But nowadays it's funny because the other day we went to the mall and there was a vegan cake there. There actually was a vegan cake in Starbucks, which is kind of rare because in Spain the choices aren't quite as good as like in England. There's so many vegan cakes everywhere. But I was like, no, I'm not going to get it because obviously it's not healthy. It's funny how our perspectives have changed.
But like having the vegan stuff just doesn't cross my mind. Like in the shop.
Non-vegan stuff.
Yeah, the non-vegan stuff. Yeah. Like in the shop, like it
like
just
zoned
wouldn't,
out
it's
something.
like not even like.
I guess
it doesn't even exist.
Yeah,
the only
same.
time that something would look appealing is when it's so processed it doesn't look like it's vegan or not vegan. Do you know what I mean? Like a cake, the vegan cake and a non-vegan cake looks the same, but like a piece of salami or something does not look appealing at all.
No.
Maybe
Even
a cake
just the
might look
colours of
vegan.
foods as well. Like most animal products just look disgusting. I mean, a piece of meat does not look attractive in comparison to like an apple.
One time
Does
we were
it?
in the mall, there was a fish and it was like this, laying on its back, and they said, Mia, look, that fish is looking in your eye.
In the supermarket.
I think Karma processes seeing like meat products by turning it into some kind of joke. She's got a very funny sense of humour, hasn't she?
Yeah. What would you do if you went somewhere and ordered something that said it was vegan, but the people making it messed up and made it non-vegan?
Ooh. I mean, it just
Good
depends
question.
on the scenario. I feel like if it's like a proper restaurant, like whatever it is, if they get your order wrong, like that's kind of not really fair or like right on you.
You
I mean,
probably
if you're a
say
paying
something.
customer, and then especially if it is something that you don't want to eat, like I don't know, if you have allergies or something, of course you're going to say about it. So yeah, if I was in like a proper restaurant, I would definitely say something because like, but then at the same time, I guess it depends. Like I don't know, if you ordered like something and it was a little side dish, you know, a sauce on the side, then of course you can just take that off and then I probably wouldn't bother saying anything. But like if it was like the whole meal, then
I mean, me and Dan have like ordered like matcha lattes before, and they've given us skimmed milk. I think they've got a bit confused, and like I've waited in the queue for ages. I could see they're really busy, and I kind of go like, oh, I don't know what to do. And then like we've had it, and I've accidentally had a sip of it. That's how I found out. But then I just can't carry on drinking it. It makes me feel physically so ill, and I feel like I technically do have like an allergy to milk. My body does not like milk. It wants to reject it. You know, I'm a human being. And then I'm very polite about it, but I have to take it back. But there has been times when I've walked up the road and then I've just put it in the bin. Because I physically can't drink it. If I could drink it, I probably would move on because I've already paid for it and I don't want to be like annoying and I just drink it, but I can't. So I do usually go back and say something. I'm very polite, of course.
Well, like if you went to a restaurant and you saw this pasta and it was vegan, but then when you got it, it had like dead shrimp on it. You just give it to somebody else and then order another one, and then it will be vegan.
Yeah. It depends. Basically, Depends
yeah.
on the context. Yeah, it
Yeah.
depends what it is. If and where we are, like we travelled to Sri Lanka in 2013, and we'd be staying in the middle of the jungle, and they're preparing our meals for us,
No one knew
etc.
what vegan was then.
Yeah, and it was really
Country like
difficult
that,
to
yeah.
explain things. So when there's some cheese added on the top, we'll just scrape it off. But if there's literally meat within a dish, we just wouldn't feel like we want to eat that. But yeah, it all depends. If something accidentally has honey on, that doesn't bother me so much. But it's just the meat and milk and
It's just basically if you can
fish
stomach
and
it.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, if you can't, I don't think I could stomach most of it, especially if it's properly mixed into it.
Well, I guess honey's not really came from an animal, but it came from a flower, and then the bees had to put all the effort in making it and putting all their extra work in it and then giving it to their bees. But then people just take it out of their thing, and then they can pop it on something. But it's not really an animal, so I guess you could kind of eat it still if you're a vegan and accidentally pop it on it. And it's funny if
some
it's a
people
tiny
do
bit.
choose to do that. Yeah. In actual fact, there's an interesting differentiation between what people in the UK classify as vegan and the US. It seems in the US, vegans eat honey products, but in the UK we don't. But it's just another one of those things where there's really nice switches. There's a million different nectars,
Maple,
where an animal was
agave,
involved. Yeah.
Date syrup.
So many sweetness.
Yeah.
Well, for instance, me and Sienna got invited to a Persian birthday party, didn't we? And we didn't want to be rude, but there's some dishes that got laid out, and then we saw some guacamole tortillas. We had that. There's some hummus, and then one dish got passed to us, and it had cheese on it and
It was this really big bowl of this salad with lettuce and tomato, and then it had one massive chunk of cheese in the middle.
So we
but
picked all
all
the
the rest
pear off.
around it wasn't even touching the cheese, so we just got all the
I think
actual
in some
salad.
situations you don't want to be
didn't have
rude to
any
people,
cheese on it.
especially when you're in another country, you
Yeah.
got invited to someone's home, you just got how to get the right balance with it, because at the end of the day, if you it's about how pure you want to be as well, and sometimes I think it's important.
Well, it's how it makes you feel. Yeah.
I think sometimes it's important to actually sometimes your ethics aren't as, to me personally, I'd rather not really offend somebody and give a bad impression of vegans, because some cultures might not understand it, especially if they're a culture where they don't have a lot of food and they've given you so much food. In Sri Lanka, we kind of felt they were making a mistake and they didn't understand, so we just scraped the cheese off, didn't we?
Yeah.
Well, when I went to my friend's party, there was these mini pizzas, and the lady said they were vegan. I tried them, and she said they were pure cheese, and she said they were vegan. I tried some, it tasted like cow's milk, and then she said, oh, the little chips here have salt on and they're cooked potatoes, so I just ate those.
She was saying vegetarian about
and I
the
popped
pizza.
the little pizza back on the tray. I only ate one tiny nibble.
What? You took a bite out of something and put it back?
Maybe the lady will watch this video and then we'll explain the difference between vegetarian and vegan. So. Next question. Okay, it's a lot of questions. Right, I'll do a quick fire round.
Okay.
I guess this is as it relates to veganism. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'll get a mic.
I'll do
Favourite
it.
shop?
Planet Organic.
Okay.
Organic's really good, yeah. Just an organic shop.
Yeah,
They have really
organic
good
shop in
options.
general, yeah.
Yeah.
Sniggles.
Fave Sephora brand.
Ooh, I'm gonna say Kosas. That's natural, and all of their stuff is vegan and not tested on animals. So that's really important to remember with beauty products. Vegan and tested on animals are different things. So tested on animals is where it's basically the product is tested on an animal. So that's not vegan really, because they rub it in the animal's eyes and it really hurts the animals, and it's really horrible. But then for it to actually say vegan, I think it means
The ingredients.
the ingredients are
Right.
vegan, but then
Yeah.
sometimes it can say vegan, but then it's still tested on animals. So that's why you got to make sure with brands that they're vegan and not tested on animals.
But then also, as a
yeah.
family, we want the ingredients to be good for us.
Yeah,
So
natural.
just because it's vegan doesn't mean it's natural either.
So
Yeah.
same as
So-
how we've been on an evolution with food in terms of starting eating the unhealthy but vegan food products, and then actually realizing no, we don't want that for ourselves. We want to eat vegan products which are also good for us. You guys have kind of also been on a journey with makeup,
products
beauty
and
products
makeup,
that
yeah.
you use, realizing
Just
You want them to be good for you as well as for animals.
It needs to be good for us. Yeah.
So yeah, fave Sephora brand.
Ilia. I really like the brand Ilia. It's really nice.
Okay.
What does that mean though?
Just the name of
I
the
don't know
brand.
what it is, Carmen. We've got a fave Sephora brand. Oh, I know what I like. If it's in Sephora, I use a water spray which is called Avane.
Oh, that's in Boots.
That's
Okay.
in the drugstores.
All right, yeah, it's a water spray. It's really nice. It's the only thing I
Your
use.
favourite thing in Sephora?
Yeah, your favourite thing in Sephora.
My hair thing.
Oh, Aveda.
Aveda, that's a really
that's
good
really
brand.
good.
Aveda's
Yeah,
very clean,
Aveda's a good hair
organic.
Okay, well done. You
And
managed to
then
answer it.
For perfumes, that's a hard one to find, is the 7 Virtues. That's in Sephora all over the world, and it's really it's all clean ingredients, and it's not tested on animals, and it's vegan, so that's a good perfume brand.
Fave food.
I'm gonna say Tex-Mex, like burrito and salsa and what do you call it, nachos and just anything like Tex-Mex.
That's me
really
too.
good.
Me and Sienna have the
Yeah.
same favourite. Fave food.
Like tiramisu or any other like
I
sweet
didn't
sort
think
of
of
creamy
sweets.
desserts and things like that. Like I've always loved
Cake.
yogurt.
I
Like
like
especially creamy desserts.
I like burgers
Yeah.
and donuts.
Fave food, Georgie.
I love actually avocado on toast. It's so good.
Yeah, it's a
that is
It's
staple.
good bit of thick, like toasted sourdough.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with salt, olive oil, and mashed avocado. And then I do also, I'll tell you, I say
And
another
pepper.
simple thing. Dates, medjool dates.
And then if you put cashew butter or like almond
Oh,
butter
yeah.
inside.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then you can
You take the
even coat
stone
them.
out of the date
And to
and you
make-
fill it with almond butter.
And to make it,
Oh my goodness.
if like it's Christmas and you want it, put a little bit of extra cinnamon in.
Or you could sprinkle some sea salt in, then it's like salted caramel.
Yeah.
One time I bit into a date though, and I didn't realise it had black mould in it. Because some of the dates here aren't as fresh in Spain.
Oh yeah, I
And
did
I
that.
breathed it in and it went into my lungs and they were burning for ages.
So-
most dates aren't mouldy, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm putting people off. They're really good.
Next question. Share any times where any of you by mistakenly ate something that was not vegan.
Ooh, I feel like this happens to Mum
Me
quite
all
a
the
lot.
time.
I mean, when we used to do daily vlogging, we
I
had
remember
one which was
when
actually
Sienna
on
put these
YouTube, didn't we?
crisps in the park, and then
Oh, yeah, okay, I can think maybe this was the last time it happened. I love salt and vinegar. This was like a year ago actually, so maybe it's happened more recently, but I can't think. But anyway, so I love salt and vinegar crisps, and there was like this little cafe in the park, and I brought these salt and vinegar crisps thinking they were vegan because a lot of brands in London, they are vegan, but this one wasn't. And it was a brown paper bag, crisps, in case you guys want to know. And it had a milk powder in it. And then I think I threw them in the bin because once I like
no,
I
we ate the whole packet.
I
And,
didn't think we
and
did,
Mum
did we?
read it, and then oh dear, and when she said, oh dear, it's cow's milk, but we already ate.
I basically
I can't
sometimes make
remember.
mistakes a lot. I'm the one who makes the most mistakes.
Yeah, I got a bit confused because there's this brand where they do like different like vegan like chocolate stuff in the UK.
Yeah.
And I bought they had these like chocolate coated marshmallows, but I got confused because the chocolate itself was vegan. It was dark chocolate, so I was like checking. Oh, these are the dark chocolate ones because all of the other brands.
I've done that.
Yeah,
I've
but
done
the
that
actual
with-
marshmallow wasn't vegan. It
Yeah,
had
I've done that.
gelatin in
What are
it.
those things
gelatine.
called? What are those things called?
Rocky
where you
Road.
Rocky Road.
Yeah.
I've literally bought. They were from like the free from
Yeah,
section.
mine were in the free from section.
To
as
be honest, the
well,
main
so
way
that's
you make
why.
mistakes is when
With
you
brands.
eat junk
Yeah.
food.
Yeah.
If you just eat plants the way nature made them, it's impossible to like. There is no mistakes. But
Yeah.
yeah, I got some free from Rocky Road, and so it was like non-dairy. And
This was when we lived in Watford.
this was years ago.
You'd
yeah.
never buy
this
Rocky
was
Road
this
now,
was
would you?
literally like 10 years ago. But yeah, I remember like marshmallows are actually like pig's toenails or
Yeah, they're
something
gelatin.
gross, aren't
Oh,
they?
I can think of another time. This isn't actually food. I remember I really needed a shampoo and I went into Boots and then I saw this like, oh, coconut milk shampoo, I'll get that. And it's like a miniature one. And then I realised later it had egg whites in it. And then
In shampoo.
I know,
Yeah,
it really,
for protein.
it really put me off. And then I was like, I can't use this. And I was like, I've already bought it though. I kind of don't really want to throw it in the bin. I was like, I'm going to go to Mia's room. Mia, do you want this shampoo? But she saw that it had egg whites in it. She's
I
like,
think part of
no,
being
thank
vegan
you.
is that sometimes you're going to make mistakes, and
Yeah.
ironically,
Yeah.
some of the places where I make mistakes is when I go like in a health food store, because
Yeah.
I start thinking that the organic shop, everything's like I'll pick up some
Vegan,
chocolate,
yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's vegan, but like
not.
yeah, so
You did that recently with something that was keto because that brand does loads of vegan like keto,
Keto bars, and then I
you
saw they
bought
did
the
a cookie.
a cookie version of it, but the vegan the keto.
It had
cookie is
butter
not
in it. I was
vegan.
like, what the heck? I was like, this is disgusting.
One
yeah.
time, Sienna bought this lip balm in Greece, and she gave it
It's
to me. And
beeswax
Dad realised it had beeswax in.
But it just depends how you feel. If you really bought it and you want to eat it, you can. Or if you want to keep on using the product, you can. It just depends how you feel about it. But once you've bought it, you've bought it.
Or just make sure, just give it to Mia. Mia loves
Yeah, I accidentally bought like a protein bar before, which had. What? I just realised what you said. Hey, I accidentally bought a protein bar before, and I didn't realise that it had non-vegan like whey powder in it or something. So I just gave it to one of my friends.
Yeah, we do give things away, or if we get gifted things, like sometimes me and Darren, like we quite often, if we stay in hotels, I'll lay all chocolates out on the bed, and then we'll like give it away.
Or even sometimes like when with some brands, like a clothing brand, you get the parcel of it, like you ordered it, and they include a little pack of Haribo in it or something. We'll just give it to our cleaner or whatever.
Yeah, we
but yeah, it just depends how you feel about it. I've heard a really far out story about somebody who apparently was a waiter and they were vegan, and basically they were like so hardcore and like really against food waste that they ate people's food, what was left on their plates, which was like meat and stuff, to save food waste. So everything's a personal choice about like what you want to do. But personally, like we're kind of at this stage where we just don't like the idea of eating animal products, even if it creates waste. Like it's just doesn't feel right.
But at the same time,
if you donate to charity, or
if you think about it, like in that case, what you're saying about the waiter. Like, even though they were vegan and they're eating meat in a way that kind of is vegan to eat the meat, because obviously the animal's already gone
They're
to
not
the
causing
harm,
harm,
so they might as well, you know.
Exactly, But that just depends how you feel, because you know, like in terms of not making waste, like if your family member passes away, do they get turned into a pair of shoes so they weren't wasted? No, because that feels wrong to us. So it's just the same as like if we get given a coffee or a matcha, we don't drink coffee, but a matcha with cow's milk in, we're going to waste it just because it doesn't feel right to drink.
But things get wasted anyway. You put it out, or you weed it out. If you actually think about what happens to things to energy, everything is like infinite, and like energy never disappears. So even if you do pour something down the sink, or you like chuck it in the bin, like it gets digested by your body and pooed out anyway. So what am I talking about?
Next question: how do you get enough iron and things like that?
That's a good question.
Spirulina.
Lots of veggies.
I think for iron, and this is especially for females, if you're doing a lot of exercise, going through something stressful, or like you're pregnant, if you feel like your diet's not giving you enough iron, you can actually, there's a really good brand called Spartone, and it's like iron-rich water. That's a really good source. Or if you've got really depleted for whatever reason and you need to build up quite quickly. But I think to make sure that you have lots of leafy greens every single day, and you consume it with vitamin C. Vitamin C and iron like help with the uptake of it. I don't recommend regular mainstream iron supplements. They're really, really strong, and like the iron can build up in your body. It's like a metal. It's not that good. So from natural, non-heme iron sources are the best, aren't they? Is that the correct one? Heme iron is from like meat and non-heme iron. There's a bit of a myth that you can't get enough of it in a vegan diet. And the only one time I got slightly low in iron when I was doing marathon training, and I don't think marathon training is a healthy pursuit. It's very taxing on the body, whether you're vegan or not. And I then did feel quite weak. But I feel like even meat eaters, if they're marathon training, especially as a female and you're menstruating, it's not good. But ever since I'm not doing that, it's fine. So if you're going to be pushing your body to the limit, maybe consider Spartone as a female. But just make sure you eat leafy greens every day, whether you're vegan or not. They're really good for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like there's other things as well, like lots of legumes and things are high in iron.
Well, I mean, yesterday, Cole made this guacamole, and I helped him a little bit, and I made this salad with loads of greens, and I ripped them all up and popped them in, so
it's delicious what you made.
We do have as a rule as a family, make sure you eat leafy greens every single day. Don't go more than a couple or several days without leafy greens. Like if you're on a holiday somewhere in a hotel, there's not
leafy
much.
greens every day.
Like go and buy a bag of spinach from the local shop and have that. Like make sure you have it, and I think that's important for everybody, whether you're vegan or not.
Also, if you're the type of person who loves food, then you will really enjoy being vegan because you get to eat a bigger quantity of it. So for instance, like when you swap things over, like if you compare a piece of steak with a piece of tofu, you can eat a greater volume of tofu for like the same calories. So you can actually eat a bigger volume of food, and I think that might be one area where people sometimes go wrong, where that, like for instance, when we eat out, like if you order avocado on toast, it will be the tiniest piece of bread with avocado on, and we're like, how does anyone survive? And we're like, you need 3 decent chunks.
Do you know what I can't stand?
You know, and you need like 2 whole avocados just loaded on
Nothing
it.
makes me more
loads of
annoyed
olive oil and
if
like.
when you're eating at a vegan
So
restaurant.
don't hold back. Like when you eat food the way nature made it, you can eat an absolute abundance of food and still be in really good health, be fit, lean, strong, etc. And so that's one of the benefits of it. So don't go into it. If you're switching from one thing to another, don't keep eating don't think you can eat small volumes. No.
I think so. If you're naturally like, what do they call it? Ectomorph, is that right? When you're a naturally very thin person, you're a bit wiry and you're a picky eater, you can't really be that. Like you've got to make sure you're eating more. Like if you don't want to eat large portions, eat more throughout the day and make sure each of your meals.
Or you've got to add in smoothies.
Yeah,
and
you can't like when you eat a vegan diet.
do.
Don't. Like this is what's so annoying, like you go in a vegan restaurant and then they give you tiny portions. A vegan diet isn't about eating tiny little things and eating less, like it's about abundance and like to make it sustainable, make sure that you're getting enough calories and like you're not just living, like when I said eat greens every day, we eat that on top of a large meal that I've made. Like the greens are a side dish, enough to our meal. Like don't just have a plate of spinach and then you have a tiny bit of tofu, you're gonna waste away. Like eat enough and eat loads and then you'll feel really good.
Lots and lots.
And if you can't have a big portion, just have lots of different little snacks throughout the day.
And nuts as well is really good.
And nut butters.
There are some super
because they're a good amount of calories and got loads of nutrition
Extra
in.
virgin olive oil as well. We drizzle that all on our meals and like a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil is quite high in calories and we put loads on the kids' dishes. So
also, if at any stage during your life you've counted calories, you don't have to do that when you eat plant-based. Like, don't count calories in any way, just think about nutrition. And that's actually really liberating, because I feel like when people are having to count calories, that's sort of a really restrictive way of living. It doesn't feel like natural. Whereas you can just eat what you want when you actually eat natural foods.
And don't be scared of fats, healthy fats, extra virgin olive oil, extra virgin coconut oil. Like fats are really avocado so nourishing and good for your body. Like you need it. And when we say don't count calories, we're on about if you eat organic, whole foods, plant-based diet. We're not on about if you're eating fries and donuts and all of those vegan foods, like then
don't
you like
eat those.
But when you're just eating all these healthy, like colourful, like ingredients,
your body will tell you like when you're full.
Absolutely. Can you recommend any chocolate bars that taste like the real thing? Please, thanks.
Ooh.
I mean, I know what my favourite is, but go on, let's start with Georgie.
Like me and the girls discovered a really good brand actually in Smith.
It's so good.
You tell them.
What was it called? They do some really nice different flavours. It's called Fellow Creatures.
Fellow Creatures.
Yeah, they do a matcha flavour. They do like a hazelnut
white
one,
chocolate,
like they do white
caramel.
chocolate ones because white chocolate is
That's
like
so
my
good.
favourite type of chocolate.
Every time I eat it, I'm like, how is this not got cow's milk in it?
It's so creamy.
Very, very creamy.
So creamy.
And they're at the air in Smith. I don't know whether they sell it anywhere else in UK because it's made in Switzerland. It's like Swiss chocolate.
Yeah, Swiss chocolate is the best chocolate.
Also another brand is Rhythm. I really like Rhythm.
Rhythm
chocolates are really good.
Yeah,
They
Rhythm's
also
good.
do like filled cookies where they've got like hazelnut, chocolate hazelnut, like Nutella.
And all the brands
vegan.
do Easter eggs at Easter as well, don't they?
Yeah.
One of my
Also-
faves. Sorry, go on, Sienna.
Also,
Rhythm's
Moo
organic
Free
as well, isn't it?
is a good one. Me and Mia.
That's
really,
more of like an ocean.
I don't like Moo Free.
No.
I
I'm
think
not
it's very
so-
it's very cheap. It's not organic, really high in sugar. It's actually quite cheap tasting. I think it doesn't taste like the real thing.
No.
But one which is
doesn't
very
taste like
nice
very
is On Bar.
Yeah.
That's one of my faves.
Bar's really
Definitely
good.
On Bar. All the flavours of On Bar are really incredible, really high quality. And then Hue. I don't know if they're all vegan, are they?
No, that's more like a paleo chocolate.
HU, but it's a really high quality chocolate.
That is more if you like dark chocolate and you're into eating very
like a
clean
chocolate
chocolate.
connoisseur.
Clean chocolate Hue.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for more like a creamy, milkier one, which is raw and very clean, it's the On Bar.
On Bar, because it's coconut milk.
Yeah.
It's really
Whereas
creamy.
Fellow Creatures and the Rhythm bars, they are slightly cleaner.
They're organic.
but they do have sugar in them. But if you wanted a treat and you're not bothered about having because we do try to avoid refined sugar, don't we? We have coconut sugar, dates or things like that instead.
What country was the easiest / most delicious to be vegan in, and what country was the hardest, didn't have the best vegan foods? I love Arab Mediterranean food and think they naturally have good vegan options in their cuisine.
That
yeah.
is right.
I agree with
very
agree with
right.
that.
I
Yeah,
think
very yummy food.
the easiest to be vegan in is probably the UK, but like in terms of the countries we've been on holiday to, I think my favourite in terms of food was definitely Greece. The food was so amazing there. It was like literally the best. And also, I feel like it was actually really easy to be vegan there. I mean, maybe that's just the restaurants we went to. But the food we had there was so amazing. It was delicious.
think Africa.
Like, I want to go back there just for the food.
Because like even the cereal, what they had that Africa on the van when
We did the safari.
yeah,
It's because we
they
went
did
on a
the
vegan safari.
Oh.
So
Yeah,
it's set up
Botswana.
for vegans to go on. But in terms of the Greek food, because when we went to Georgia, as in the country Georgia, not the state in the US, also because they have, is it the same religion, but they have a thing called fasting food,
Like
and it's
Orthodox-
where
like
Orthodox Christians, is it?
Yeah, they do fasting days
So
of the week.
for one day of the week, I think, and it's not the same, from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, from what I understand, it's not the same day of the week for everyone. And so at any times, like in the supermarkets, they sell what they call fasting foods, and that means foods which are free from animal products.
Yeah.
So actually we were even able to find like convenience foods, say like pre-made sandwiches or something in a shop,
Yeah.
which were like chickpeas rather than
Yeah.
fish or
Yeah, I
whatever.
think Greece was very good, Sienna, because like
Yeah.
they had, and also it's quite wholesome and fresh. But Italy is very
I was
good.
thinking,
actually.
Italy,
is very
Italian
good.
food is very easy
You could go to
get,
any
nice.
restaurant and actually get a decent, because you could ask for a margarita, is that right? A
Marinara.
marinara.
Oh,
Margarita
pizza, yeah.
is cheese.
Margarita's cheese.
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
they have lots of nice
marinara.
fresh
Marinara
salad.
is the original pizza.
bruschetta.
Yeah.
Bruschetta.
The original.
Oh.
This is an interesting
Yeah.
one. Original pizza is vegan, the same as original chocolate, because chocolate is vegan. It's only milk
Yeah.
chocolate,
Yeah, that's a
which
good
has got
point.
cow's milk added. So
Yeah.
again, it goes back to actually a lot of things. Once you start looking into it, a lot of foods are vegan in their
Yeah.
very nature.
And
anyway.
I think if you travel to India and Sri Lanka, I think there's going to be a lot of, because a lot of the religions there are vegetarian, so you'll find a lot of like rice and curry dishes which are vegan friendly.
So what's been the hardest then?
Probably like if we went to like France and places
Yeah, I
like
feel
that.
like France is quite hard.
But places are
But
getting
in terms of
better
where
now.
we've been to
Yeah.
though, what's been the hardest?
I'd say maybe when we went to China, just because we couldn't understand the language.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah,
there's such
true,
a
yeah.
When there's a
Yeah.
language barrier, like a completely new alphabet, you can't be checking labels and seeing
Yeah.
where the
Yeah.
fruit, like, or you
I-
can't speak properly. And
I think Gibraltar, I think that had better on vegan food.
No.
Like
I'd say
No,
that was-
Gibraltar was good.
It was alright, but yeah, in China, it's because we were on like
China
an
was
organised
really hard.
trip, so most of everything was taken care of for us. So they knew we were vegan and they were giving us vegan food. But one evening, Georgie and I went out and we tried to get something to eat, and it's very challenging. Even when we all went to a restaurant, and I'm like, no, like trying to. It's so
so
difficult.
cringe. Like, but saying that, there were loads of restaurants that they were fully vegan.
Yeah, if
That's
you
the
go
thing.
to a place, basically you just have to be a bit more planned. Like you can't
Yeah.
just walk into any random place and expect them to accommodate to you.
Look on Happy Cow.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
website and
Google
app
Maps.
called Happy Cow, which we used to use in the past. Nowadays, because we're trying to eat healthier stuff, so it's not like necessarily that we're looking for vegan food, it's that we're looking for healthy plant-based food. So
Yeah,
we
whole
will look for
foods.
particular dishes that we want, like we want an acai bowl for breakfast.
Poke bowl.
Or we want a
Poke
poke bowl, sometimes called Buddha bowl, sometimes called
Yeah.
rainbow bowl, like for lunch.
Yeah.
And they are 9 times out of 10 all vegan as well. So
I think the best
Or we'll
place
search for
we've
organic
ever been
on
to
Google Maps as
that's
well.
ticked all the boxes for health, and that was Ibiza.
yeah.
That was one of the best places we've been to, because Ibiza is usually associated with partying and things, but actually there's like a hippie community there. So lots of the vegan places, and also there's like a fitness community there. So there was loads of places that were like seed oil free, refined sugar free, and
That's
they had
really
vegan
cool.
things on the menu, and I loved it there. I actually came back from being on a holiday and I felt like really healthy, not like, it was like when I was on holiday, I was like eating really, like, when do you go on holiday and you come away and you feel like healthier? It's like,
Yeah.
wow.
Well, when you're consciously trying to eat healthy, isn't it?
So I was
Yeah.
eating like yogurt, like coconut yogurt in the morning with fresh berries on. Then for dinner, me and Dan were having like really delicious like Buddha bowls, and that was amazing. So Ibiza, like if you're in Europe, and you
Yeah,
want
I
to go.
really want to go there. It sounds
Yeah.
so nice.
Yeah.
Mia actually just wants to go to like Well, the club, something does.
No.
Have you ever at any point wanted to quit or felt too overwhelmed? Love you guys. Thanks, Holly.
No.
No, I feel like veganism is so normal to me. It's just like I don't even think about it.
Yeah,
No, that's
Yeah, I don't think about
You
it at
don't
all.
think about it.
I forget.
What Sienna said about
Yeah.
like looking at menus earlier and like, or you were saying like it doesn't register to
Yeah,
you.
like looking at
It doesn't. I get given a menu. I look for like if there's a key for like whatever's vegan. I just scan down. I don't even bother reading the other things because
Yeah.
like I don't see the point in it. So it's just
Yeah.
a way of life. It's just the same as I don't know if you swimming is part of your life and you go for a swim every morning. It's like you don't think about it. It's just
I don't think
part of your routine.
I wouldn't say it's overwhelmed, but sometimes I get a bit frustrated, and it's not even about being vegan. This can happen to people who are meat eaters. It's just trying to find health conscious food when we eat when we're eating out. That's what
Right.
I'm finding
That is-
frustrating.
it's a bit
So
of a
there's a
challenge
huge like
sometimes.
people who eat meat probably have the same issue, but if you want to eat health conscious food, eating out is a little bit trickier.
Yeah.
But going out and being vegan and that is just sorry, but I think it's really easy to be vegan now.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
for choices, maybe like socially or emotionally, you might find it hard, but like to actually find food options out there, it's easy, I think.
Is it hard to find foods in the supermarket?
Ooh, I feel like
No,
it
not in the
depends what
supermarket. I
supermarket
think- yeah, I
is.
guess
Maybe
so.
some
No,
are
I
like a
don't
little
think
bit
so.
more difficult, but even
Yeah.
then, nowadays,
No.
no. Like what I was saying earlier about like nowadays things that are vegan, they'll have like labels on them, and like I feel like it's harder to find like healthy, like whole food things. Maybe I mean I guess you could just get like
I mean,
Actually-
in the supermarket, you just go to
yeah,
the
I guess it's
vegetable
not,
section.
but
It's because they're thinking
yeah.
about. I would imagine that Faith is probably thinking about things what have the word vegan on them, and not thinking like, is it hard to find bananas? Is it hard to find
Yeah.
potatoes? Is it
Yeah.
hard to find beans? No, it isn't. But because when we're thinking about like, if you go from eating meat to eating vegan, you think you have to find these things what have the word vegan on them, but like that's
Yeah.
not food.
Well, I'm the
That's
main
the-
person
that's
who
the
does all the
ultra
shopping.
processed stuff, isn't it?
I've travelled to so many countries all around the world, and I do the shopping. And no, it's really easy. Even in Greece, Italy, Dubai, even in
US.
Africa, even when we're in Botswana,
Yeah.
it is actually easy to find like vegan stuff. Maybe Botswana is slightly more trickier, but there were vegan options there. There's like soy milk and everything, because it all got imported from South Africa.
I think
Here in Spain, sorry, Karma, but even here in Spain, there are like aisles dedicated to vegan. Like there is so much. Like I don't think it's tricky in a supermarket at all.
I mean
I think-
actually. Oh, sorry, you go.
I think the hardest supermarket here to go to what has barely known foods is like English court that what's in Spanish El Corte Inglés.
that's
what
really
I
good
just
in
call
there.
that.
No, they have loads. They have their own
Yeah,
brand
they
of
have really
tofu
good stuff,
and
yeah.
everything. It's amazing.
It's just because when we went in there, we were trying to look for green foods.
Yeah.
That challenge, it was hard because we wanted to get only green things.
You have to watch that video, guys. Actually, we made a video to celebrate 13 years being vegan, where we did a challenge video on our main channel, Family Fizz, which was called "Living in One Color for 24 Hours Green." So we did everything green themed.
Yeah, actually, even we went into like a little small Spanish like petrol station like shop, and there was so many vegan things in there.
Yeah.
There was like packet. We didn't get any of the unhealthy things, but there was loads of like unhealthy junk food that was vegan, like packets of crisps and biscuits and stuff like that. But then there also is all the gas stations here. They have kombucha as well, which is really good.
Yeah, there's a category which you'll find people share online, which is termed accidentally vegan.
Yeah.
So it's things where they're not marketed as being vegan, but they just so happen to not have animal products in. So in terms
The
of
OG
like,
is Oreo.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
Oreos, for instance.
But there's so many aisles here, even in Spain, which is a very like pro-meat country. There's so like in Carrefours everywhere. They have like all different like. They have huge areas of meat-free. They call it vegetal, and like they have ice creams, and they have packaged food and fresh food.
Next question: where to start? Seems hard to do and expensive.
Ooh.
Ooh, I mean, start with whatever feels like easiest for you, but I feel like it definitely, you just have to not like overthink it. Just do a little thing at a time. I mean, it all depends on like your personality, how you want to start. I mean, I'm sure mum and dad probably have better tips because obviously they had to go through it themselves, whereas I was just a kid, so I just kind of went with it.
I've got an idea though. You could even try and do like one meal at a time. Like you could do,
Yeah.
first of all, I'm gonna make my breakfast vegan. Like at the moment I have, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a non-vegan
Well, a lot of
breakfast.
people have porridge and stuff or a
Yeah,
cereal.
that was quite
so it'd just be
easy.
switching your milk.
Yeah, the first
Anyway,
thing is
wouldn't it?
changing
Yeah.
your milk.
Changing your
probably.
milk, what's in your coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
you could
those
do it
types
that
of
way,
things. Because
yeah.
some people, you know, just do like my grandparents, they have oat milk. And like they're not, there's a few switches they've made. They're not fully vegan, but they've made some switches, which ultimately is going to be a bit of a benefit for them and a bit of a benefit, you know, ripple effect worldwide as well. But it depends on your personality type, whether you're all or nothing, which Georgie and I definitely are, or whether it suits you better to do a little bit. So from my own perspective, I'm just like, you just do it. You just like make a decision. Like, what's your decision? And then you need to have a why. Like, if there's anything you want to stick to, if you don't have a why for doing it, in my opinion, you won't manage to stick to it. Like, there needs to be, you know, whatever it is, I'm going to climb a tree every day, but why? What is the reason why? And then if you always remember your why, then you'll be able to stick to
Because
things.
there will be times where
To be stronger,
there might be some times at the beginning stage where it feels tricky, and for you to like push through the feelings of tricky in it, the challenging times, you've got to have the why's got to be really strong. You could, I would also just follow lots of Instagram accounts where they're sharing all beautiful, delicious, easy meals. There's lots of them.
Get some vegan recipe
Look at
books.
our Snap. Like get loads of inspiration. Like I know that loads of females watching this, you love like going on Instagram and looking at pretty things, and just look at some really nice like healthy vegan bowls. There's probably an account called that. Look at our Snap and see what we're making. Like get loads of inspiration. Go to some vegan meetups to meet other people and like share your experience with others. And then also maybe tie being vegan with another habit, like you're going vegan, you want to make these changes, but then you also like start, I don't know, like running, and then you can combine the two, I don't know, making something up,
Or you want to, you know, get more into like making recipes and stuff. I feel like that's another empowering thing about going vegan, is it empowers you to like try new foods. And I think that's a really big thing for some people, is that, you know, it's kind of can be scary to try new foods, but when you have like a reason, it gives you a reason to try the new foods. It gives you the why to do that. So yeah.
Also, when you first turn vegan, when you've been like vegan since you're 6 and you want to turn vegan when you're 7, and then when you're 7 you want to eat vegan, you can just eat fake meat, what's vegan basically, but it looks like meat, so then it doesn't feel as scary.
Yeah. Some people do that. Yeah, it's like a stepping stone.
Well, one thing as well is make it enjoyable for yourself. Like find ways of how you can make this habit stick, like, you know, this transition, this change in your life. And if you make it enjoyable, like you could, I don't know, like you could find some meals that you really enjoy making. They're really easy to make and you really enjoy it, and then you're just going to stick to it. Or like treat yourself every week to going out for a nice vegan meal. Like give yourself like little rewards and things like that. But I think finding a community as well, that because I think doing it all by yourself might feel a bit lonely. So like I said, go to meetups, join like some groups, like online, things like that, and then you don't feel like you're on your own and making friends and things like that.
Well, it's just mindset as well. I know we keep going back to mindset, but it's like every time you eat is an opportunity to nourish yourself. So when you view it that way, then you're really building yourself up and you are loving yourself, which at the same time you're managing to love other things as well by choosing those food choices. So that would be where to start, but it seems hard to do and expensive. What would you say about expensive?
It can be slightly more expensive, I'd say, if you're buying loads of fresh produce. Some weird reason in this world, like especially like in the US, packaged foods and like junk food, ultra processed foods can be cheaper compared to fresh food. But so you've got to like realize that like I'm going to invest in my health, my future, and myself and my happiness. So you might have to spend a little bit more money, but I think you can do it cleverly. Like here in Europe, I don't know what it's like in the US, but like Aldi's and Lidl's, they have like organic things in there, and it's a very cheap. They're classed as budget supermarkets.
Are they in the US as well? Those ones?
I don't know if they have the organic range.
Right, because those supermarkets
obviously
all over
they might
Europe,
have.
aren't
They
they?
probably have. Every time we talk about food, I'm always thinking about buying organic at the same time. You don't have to buy organic, but they have like a range of like organic rye bread, organic chickpeas, or like all canned, all jarred things, and like fresh produce. You can do it like bananas, cheap, aren't they?
Yeah.
But like we always say, like what things could you cut out? What things are you spending money on, which aren't really building you up? What you could
cigarettes, alcohol, TV subscriptions, things like that, which take you down. Like, why not?
Even beauty products are very expensive. You know, like look at how popular Sephora is, and people go in there and they spend like £30 or $30 on some like blusher. But like, think about what foods do to you, how they nourish you, and make you
saying as well. It's like invest in your health now or you pay for it later.
Yeah,
so it's basically you either pay for things now to build yourself up, or you end up paying for it later in life anyway with like medication and things as a result of not taking care of yourself.
But
So
at the end of the day,
again, mindset, isn't it?
beans and rice are
the cheapest.
Yeah.
and if you buy in bulk
Yeah.
as
It's cheaper
well,
than meat.
It is.
Yeah.
It's not like meat
Yeah.
is cheap.
No.
Meat is very expensive.
Yeah.
But if you buy it in bulk, you can save money there. But I think maybe with the fresh produce and you're buying fruits and vegetables, I think it's worth it, the extra money though.
Yeah, Mia's got a good point
Yeah.
because like we obviously buy all organic, but if we were buying all organic meat, it would be even more
It'd be so expensive.
money than the all organic plant products that we're buying.
Yeah.
So it's just on that comparison anyway. So therefore, it can actually be cheaper. It just depends what you're comparing it against.
Yeah, if you want to
Yeah.
buy all the packaged vegan foods, they can be quite pricey. And also you can make a lot of things at home, like you can make your own like almond milk, you can make your own like bread at home, you can make your own sourdough
Yeah.
bread. You can, there's a lot of things you can want to do.
Grow your own plants.
Yeah, like we do. We grow our
Yeah.
own greens. Yeah.
So some things are cheaper, but then maybe like if it is a little bit more money, you've just got to actually like work out what's important to you, what are your priorities, and maybe like I don't know, just you'll figure it out. If you want something enough, you'll make it happen and you'll figure it out.
Next question, are there any easy swaps or beginner-friendly tips for transitioning to a vegan lifestyle? So what would be like, I guess we already started speaking about really
Like the
about
milk.
switching milk in your breakfast.
Yeah.
But easy swaps, so like meat for beans, cow's milk for soy milk or any other.
We by the way, then
non-dairy.
we do like avoid oat milk, don't we, if possible?
Yeah.
Just because a lot of oat milk has like loads
Very
of oils and
sugary.
it's very processed.
Yeah.
So soya, and I think
But
So
there's
what
lots
else?
of
Like
nut
what,
milks, which
what would you switch? Like I guess we already said honey. What would we switch honey for?
for agave nectar
Agave
or maple.
Yeah.
Maple, yeah.
What would we switch eggs for?
Right, so it depends what you're
Scrambled
making.
tofu,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
in recipes you can swap it for banana or flaxseed.
Yeah.
Or when I say recipes, I mean like cake recipes.
Yeah.
If you're making a cake
Cakes.
recipe.
Flaxseed, chia seeds as well for like the eggy
Apple
stuff.
puree.
Apple puree, yeah.
puree
You
works
also
nice with
do
bacon,
get egg replacer like powder. I think you mix it with water, but I just think it's personally better to use one of those things.
Because then you get all the
Natural
benefits
things.
of the flax and
Yeah.
they're probably cheaper. Like
Yeah.
in a lot of the shops around here, you can buy like flaxseed in bulk and then you just grind it up when you need it.
Yeah.
And then say like a fish product, like people would say there's omegas in fish.
Well, where does fish get their omegas from?
Yeah.
Seaweed.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly. Algae, so like we have
I
spirulina.
love nori.
Oh,
Yeah.
nori
That's.
too.
I forgot to say that Japanese food. I guess it's because we haven't been to Japan. But I feel I really like Japanese food.
But one thing that I really love is, and I actually think these taste way better. And my mum, my mum loves cheese. She loves the pongiest, most disgusting cheese ever. But I hosted a little cheese party one night, a cheese board, and it was all of the raw
The nut
cashew
cheese.
Nut
based
cheeses.
cheese.
And she
So
loved it.
good.
She was like,
The
As far
moldy
as
blue
cheese
ones.
connoisseurs go, like nut
Nut
cheeses are
cheeses.
actually really ranked up there. It's surprising.
Yeah, and
So
she
good.
loved it. So
They're
like,
very
And you can
good.
make it yourself at home super easy.
Yeah.
I've been getting really into making cashew, like either cheese sauce or like a sweet frosting sauce sort of thing out of cashews, and it's so delicious and so simple. It's just literally soaked cashews and then
She can
whatever
make mac
flavouring.
and cheese.
Yeah, I mean,
And that's
it's very
literally
healthy
pure
mac and cheese for
cheese.
us. the other
Soaked
day. It's
cashews
very-
and blended, isn't it?
blended,
Yeah.
yeah, blended up with a bit of milk and then like either like sweetener or nutritional yeast.
Can I just say something,
cheese
Fam?
stuff.
I did not know anything about cooking. I wasn't a good cook. And when we went vegan, it gave me this amazing gift of like
Yeah.
going on blogs and like finding out. And now
It's
like
fun.
I learned to
Yeah.
cook from turning vegan, and it's really fun, guys. If you have no clue of what to do, like honestly, trust me, it's a beautiful journey to go on in so many ways. And that's why I'm so thankful for being vegan. Like I can cook the most
I
amazing
can
meals
cook
now.
loads.
Like I know
Yeah.
about all the spices, I know about all the
Yeah.
seeds. Like I have such a good repertoire of like cooking now. It's amazing. And
Think
it's
what
really
Mia said,
Tonight
it's
we're gonna have
empowering.
lasagna.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. All these guys can cook.
They
so-
made a salad all by the Carl
Yeah,
went
yeah.
off and he made his own
And then even
guacamole.
understanding how it starts as well, like going and picking the
Yeah.
leaves and then incorporating them in the
Yeah.
salad. It's so good. So following on from that, what's your go-to quick and easy meal?
I love my 2-bean chili.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
that.
I'll probably say like a cheesy mac and cheese thing,
Um,
like a pasta dish.
If I'm the one cooking,
cashew.
I'd probably say like something really simple, like pasta, like pesto pasta. We have like a pesto paste where it's like olive oil and basil and that, and then I'll just add that. I'll just boil some pasta and then add that.
Oh no!
I'll
Carla.
make tempeh burgers.
Ooh, yeah. Burgers are delicious,
But in
a little
terms
bit
of a really
complicated,
quick and easy go-to meal, which just hits all the taste buds, avocado and toast.
Yes, avocado and toast.
That is so good.
Curry. There's so
I feel
many
like I
different things.
usually
Stew.
I'm better at cooking like sweet foods. I don't really cook savoury as much. Oh, but when we have Indian nights, when we have like curry and rice and that, I usually make like onion bhajis. And
I would say that's
managed
quick though. That
No,
No,
that's
that's
the
not
thing.
very quick and easy.
Yeah,
Quick
these are
and
our
easy.
special meals.
go-to means
Yeah.
Quick
all
and
the
easy
time.
breakfast. I would say porridge topped with fruit.
Yeah.
Or like often I will have a yogurt and berries mixed, and then I'll put protein powder in it, mix it all together, and then I'll put toppings like 3 bananas, and then hemp seeds, ground flax, gojis, and cacao nibs, and I
I
strike
love
them.
yogurt and grated apple.
Strike
That's
them
like my
across the top.
go-to, and cinnamon.
That's
I
my
love
breakfast. Really healthy. Takes about 5 minutes to prepare. A lunch, I would do an avocado on toast, or I'd do a scrambled tofu on toast. And then a dinner.
It's like a stew.
Dinner, we have these things called instant pots. They're basically pressure cookers. And we've got 2 of them. So we put rice in one, and then we put a stew or a curry or a chili in the other.
Yeah.
And they're like one pot thing. So you just chuck it all in, turn it on,
And it does it
and
for you.
walk off. And then 10 minutes later, they beep. You probably heard the beep in the background of our videos quite a lot of times. And the food's done. So that we have a lot of go-to quick ones, don't we? What's your favourite plant milk?
Oh, in the
Soya.
UK, it's the Plenish soy milk.
Yeah.
Organic.
Yeah.
It's organic and spring water and a bit of sea salt.
I like
Ooh,
oat milk.
I do actually like rice milk. We've had that, maybe not for like having in like cups of tea or something, but like if you have like a glass of milk, I don't know how healthy rice milk is, I'm not sure, but we got like a carton of rice milk as a freebie once from the organic
Remember
shop,
that
and actually
tiger
really
nut
liked
milk?
it. Tasted
Oh
really
yeah,
good.
they have
That
a
tiger
tiger nut
nut
milk.
milk.
That's like a thing they
Yeah.
have here
Yeah.
in
That
Spain.
was delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, soy milk as well. We tried all the others, and they just don't compare on a nutritional level or how well it works in like tea and coffee and things like
soya
that.
works
So-
with everything,
Yeah.
whereas I feel
Yeah.
like almond milk is nice, goes good in cereal or having it on its own, but it doesn't really work in like
I
drinks.
think coconut milk is really good though, and really good for some things. But I guess I mean more like actual like the canned stuff is better.
Yeah.
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 Put that
Depends
in
what you're
your
using
does.
it for as well. If you're
Yeah.
not using it for cups of tea and coffee, then all the other plant milks can have benefits and other things. Next question, are you going to make a vegan recipe book?
Yes, we are. Because so many of you want to know our go-to easy meals. We've been cooking obviously for 13 years, and like we've basically to make our lifestyle like sustainable, to be healthy and to feel like nourished. You have to have some really easy meals that are quick and easy to make but taste delicious and that you look forward to. And I feel like we've got a good rotation of system going.
But we also really think about nutrition.
Yeah.
Like nutrition is even like when we were just mentioning the milk, like I don't really think about the flavour of it. I'm like, what's the nutritional profile? So our meals they've got to have an equal balance, protein, carbs, fats, all the micronutrients. We're thinking about everything, where we're getting everything.
Everything is
As I
covered.
said, every time you eat is an opportunity to nourish yourself, and that's what's really important.
Everything
for
is
our
covered
meals.
with our meals. Like if the meal was really, really healthy, but we just found it really unenjoyable to eat, I'd come up with a better dish. And I feel like all of our meals has hit all the taste buds and they're good for your body. And like we've got some really good go-to desserts that we
I'm
want to
so
share.
excited about it. I know you guys are gonna love it.
I've been writing down all of the ideas for all the, like we're taking it step by step because Mia's self-published quite a lot of times, and I'm the main person probably holding us back for making this recipe book because I feel like I've got lots of other commitments and
Well,
responsibilities.
but we want it to be amazing as well. We don't just want to knock out any old thing,
Well,
do we? So
I'm like halfway of making my a little paper recipe book.
yeah.
I've already wrote the bowl, what Mum wrote a few of.
Yeah, they came up with the name for a
Carrot
bowl.
Yeah.
Called the bowl.
No, I
Did you?
Yeah. So
They
you
both
can
claim
put,
to fame on it.
dried mango in or dried strawberries, and then you just mix it with a little bit of coconut oil, and it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel bursting with like passion to share like all these recipes with you guys. And we were saying about how every recipe in this book is going to be like one that we genuinely make. Like we're not just going to fill it up. Like we're not going to put an awkward recipe in there that's really hard to make. Like it's got to be one that we would make and that we eat.
Or where it has to have 100 recipes in just to be a recipe book. It's like got to be things that we actually eat.
It's going to be the best recipe.
And it's all the inspiration is going to come from all of us. Like Sienna's had some of her desserts because we all equally cook, don't we? The only person who doesn't is Darren. No, he does make his. No, you make your own breakfast.
Have his recipes.
You do though, actually. You do have your recipes.
He just doesn't make
dinner.
dinner.
I make like breakfast and lunch for myself.
You do. You make the scrambled tofu. I take that back. I'm so sorry.
He has his dad
If
meals.
dinner was in your hands, what would you make?
I've just baked potato with beans and salad.
We don't actually. Whatever.
That won't be in the recipe book.
No, don't worry. There's no baked potato in our recipe, and there's nothing bland, and it's going to be amazing, guys. So
we do share daily content on our Snapchat as well, which is Family Fizz Real. So make sure to go and follow that, where we show our meals and different things going on behind the scenes, gymnastics and shopping, and Mia's rock climbing and learning how to do muscle ups.
Me trying to build my glutes.
Us going to the gym, all the different behind the scenes things. Thanks for all your questions. That was the last one.
Thank you guys.
We'll see you guys in the next video.
See you in the next video. Bye.